It was a winning weekend for Maryland, with football continuing its non-conference domination, men's soccer remaining unbeaten, and field hockey shining in the Terrapin Invitational. We'll break down all that and more on this live edition of The Left Bench.
Hello everyone and welcome back to The Left Bench, brought to you by Terrapin Sports Central. I'm Andrew McBride. Next to me is my partner in crime, Ben Wolf. And Ben, this one is special. We are so lucky to be going live on YouTube for the first time ever.
It's an honor to be anchoring the first live show and just to be behind the desk this year, but you know who else is excited? Maryland football fans.
You're right. Let's keep this excitement train rolling and start off with Maryland football, who is also chugging earlier this season. It was an early noon start to the interstate clash between Maryland and Towson. The Terps started fast and never looked back in a 44-17 blowout win over the Tigers. Leading the Maryland offense once again is standout freshman Malik Washington. The freshman quarterback throws for 261 yards and a touchdown. The Maryland defense pitches a shutout in the first half, with freshman pass rusher Sidney Stewart and Zahir Mathis each recording a sack. But the best play of the game is still yet to come. Enter defensive back Lakai Rowland, who comes in the game after Malik Washington's first career interception. The sophomore takes it the distance, a 100-yard pick six. Towson scores 17 garbage time points, and the Terps cruise to a 27-point win. Here's Coach Loxley on his team's 3-0 start.
You need to have this stuff on tape. You get to put it on tape and coach from it, and the team that's inexperienced like the one we have will be better because of the depth that we've been able to create by playing some of these young guys in situations today.
With that win, Maryland continues its NCAA leading 18th straight non-conference win. And a key reason why the Terps are 3-0 this season is freshman QB Malik Washington. TSC's Wesley Schnell takes a look at the rookie quarterback's play so far this season.
Some positive highlights, I think, on offense. What we were looking to be able to do was start fast. I think we scored points on the first 6 drives we had.
Coach Loxley's squad had the goal to come into its final non-conference matchup of the season and come out firing, and they did just that. Thanks to an excellent performance by freshman quarterback Malik Washington, he was able to lead the Terps to 6 straight scoring drives to open up the game. Washington got things going with a 53-yard pass to Octavian Smith Jr. that set up DeJuan Williams for a 2-yard touchdown run. The following drive, Washington went right back to work with a 33-yard toe-tap completion to Shalik Knotts that set up first and goal for a quarterback keep for Washington's first rushing touchdown of the season. Washington stayed hot the next drive with a 32-yard touchdown to Shalik Knotts to put the Terps up 24-0 in the second quarter. Washington's day ended early, finishing with a season-best 261 yards and 2 total touchdowns as the Terps were up 41-0 early in the third quarter. Malik Washington continues to look more and more comfortable under center for the Terps this season. After just his third start at the collegiate level, he has thrown for 773 yards and scored 7 total touchdowns, with just 1 interception which came in the third quarter of today's game. Washington has also yet to be sacked once this entire season.
Yeah, it's been amazing. The trust and the confidence that the team gives me and the coaches, I couldn't have asked for anything better. Just them allowing me to go out there and play freely has been great.
7 was really efficient for us. Did a really good job of kind of getting the offense rolling early on and gaining some momentum.
Washington and the Terps will look to stay hot as they head to Camp Randall Stadium to kick off Big Ten play against the Wisconsin Badgers. For Terrapin Sports Central, I'm Wesley Schnell.
Great job by Wesley there. And Ben, I know the competition from Malik Washington does not compare to what he's going to face later on as Big Ten play starts, but it's just encouraging to Terps fans that he's playing so well so early on this season.
Definitely. In this non-conference slate, he's carried himself with such poise and confidence that if he continues with this great mental strength that he has, I think that this transition won't be as hard as people may think.
I agree. And continuing with football, Ben and I caught up with Maryland beat writers Mike Howes and Jay Cotterer from the Diamondback yesterday.
Check it out.
So here we are with Jay Cotterer and Mike Howes from the Diamondback, who are covering Maryland football this year. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good, man. Thanks for having us.
Pretty good. Appreciate you for having us on.
Of course.
So we just wanted to start off. Obviously, Maryland's gotten off to a hot start in non-conference play. We've been seeing that for quite some time now. And I think one of the main reasons is that the offensive line has really been protecting Malik. Yet they haven't surrendered a sack yet. And now entering Big Ten play, do you think this play from the offensive line will continue?
Yeah, Ben. So like you kind of mentioned, they have been really good so far. It's kind of a revamped unit in that only two of the starters from last year are returning starters, Aluba and Alan Heron. Isaiah Wright was on the team last year, but he endured a torn Achilles, which I did a story on, which was fun, but been really impressive so far. Definitely still working on the run game, and I think that's going to be even more important as Big Ten play picks up. But I would kind of describe it as cautious optimism because they've looked good. It's a new unit, and I do think it'll be better than last year. With that being said, obviously, they've been against non-conference opponents so far, so I think we need to see it on a larger scale. And another thing is that they haven't played on the road yet. And I feel like for the offensive line, with talking and signals and everything, I think the road can make a big difference. We'll see the first taste of that with Wisconsin this week.
Yeah, Jake. And going to the freshmen, the sophomores on the team have had a really big impact this year. You got Williams, you got Iverson Howard, you Malik Washington, obviously on offense. And then you look on the defensive side, Trey Reddick, Carlton Smith, Del Holm, they're all stepping up in a big way. But do you believe these guys can continue to play this well as Big Ten play rolls on? How important is it that they continue to play the way they are?
Yeah, that's the big question. Can they continue it when conference play starts? Like Jake said, they've only played FIU, Northern Illinois, and Towson. Not really competition compared to the Big Ten slate that they'll be playing. I do want to focus on two freshmen on the defensive line there for the Terps, though, Sydney Stewart and Zahir Mathis. Every single game that you're watching, the Terps are getting pressure in the backfield. The other day against Towson, Zahir Mathis got another sack, so he's up to 2.5 sacks, I believe, on the season so far. Sydney Stewart always a constant pressure in that backfield for opposing quarterbacks. But I mean, it's yet to be seen. I think Mathis and Sydney Stewart, those two will continue to get playing time and continue to make an impact. Someone like Iverson Howard, I don't see him, maybe getting as much playing time as the conference slate rolls around with Williams and, of course, Nolan Ray in that backfield for the Terps as well. And then Dorian Fleming, he's also been one of Malik Washington's favorite targets so far alongside the receivers. So I think those guys that I highlighted, they'll continue to play well. But again, you don't know how the playing time is going to even itself out once the conference slate starts. And then you don't know how they're going to play once they face tougher opponents.
Right.
And like you said, it is really important. And what's kind of funny and ironic to me is, Locks has said this year how they've shifted from like a developmental program to now they're a win now program. But a lot of the win now is based on the progress of these young guys. So I do think it'll be really important to monitor in conference play.
And bouncing off of that, do you think it's a thing that, Loxley is getting more confidence in these guys as they continue to play well? These guys are getting more confidence in themselves that they're kind of finding play time maybe down the road in these Big Ten games.
Yeah, of course. That Loxley mentioned that too the other day. When you're in a blowout against a team like Towson, you're able to get these young guys playing time that they might not have been able to get so early in the season. So if an injury happens, if somebody's not available to play a Saturday, those guys will have that reps to be able to come in and play, knowing that they're confident in their ability. So that's a huge thing for this team.
And that's the nice thing about the light non-conference slate to start off. While it hasn't exactly tested Maryland, I mean, a little bit in week 2, but not much. Some of these guys who may have not otherwise played have gotten the chance to get some live reps, which I think is definitely beneficial for them as they progress through the season. And likely injuries will inevitably arise, and some of these guys will have to actually start and play.
Obviously, the team is surrounded by a bunch of young guys, but you also got the veterans. You got Daniel Wingate on the defensive side, who's been all over the field. And then even on the offensive side, you got Jalil Farouk, Octavian Smith. Just how much of an impact do you think these veterans have had on helping develop these younger players?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely an important aspect of it, right? Just in any sort of group, it's always the veterans are kind of looked upon, I feel like. I know Daniel Wingate is a guy who Locks and some of the other players have said has been a really vocal leader on the defense. He's taken a step forward this year. Obviously one of the guys, on that defense who has been around for a few years now. Not many of them, it's kind of a revamped unit, but yeah, no, I think it's really important. I think especially as they inevitably, face some adversity, could be this opening conference game against Wisconsin, there will be adversity for this team. And I think those veterans are definitely going to be leaned upon in those games.
And looking at this Wisconsin game, final question for you guys. I know Billy Edwards Jr.'s health is in question, but the former Maryland quarterback could be facing his former team next week. How does the team prepare for someone like Billy who's played with this team? Are they preparing differently because they're familiar with him, or they're going to approach it like any other quarterback that they're facing?
Yeah, obviously there's some familiarity there. The defense was playing him nearly every day in practice last year. So the scouting report is there. They know how Billy plays. The thing for me is, how ready is Billy for this game? And then you could also say the same thing for Malik Washington. Billy played about one half of football for Wisconsin, which wasn't a pretty half for them either before he went down with injury. On the other side, you've got Malik Washington going into his first road game of his collegiate career in an environment in Wisconsin, which is known for its nice crowds. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two kind of play. Is Billy ready? Is he in game shape to be able to play against a Maryland? Is Malik Washington ready to face an opposing crowd for the first time? So it's going to be very interesting to watch.
And then the last thing I got for you guys, which is a question that probably many Terp fans are wondering, do you believe that the Terps will be able to compete in this Big Ten schedule and solidify a bowl chance this season?
Yeah, so I do think they have a good chance. I'm not gonna like flat out say they're going to, but there's definitely some easier games on the schedule, right? UCLA, we know just fired their coach. They've had a disastrous start to the season. Maryland gets them. Rutgers, generally not a great Big Ten team. Michigan State, you would think Maryland will have a chance. And so I could see around a 500 finish, maybe 7 wins if the young players really progress, and I could definitely see a bowl game in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, like Jake just said right there, he just rattled off a couple teams that are winnable games on paper when you look at it. And that's the nice thing about playing an easy non-conference slate. That gives you 3 games immediately that you've won. You only need to win 3 more the rest of the year to get to a bowl game. So it's definitely a winnable schedule on paper, but let's see how this team does this Saturday against Wisconsin. I think that will really show the identity of who this team is and who they're going to be for the rest of the year.
Right. Well, it's been a great start, and they're definitely an exciting team to cover. So I wish you guys good luck the rest of the season. I'm sure you'll be on again to talk some Maryland football. But again, thank you guys. Always a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, thanks for having
joining
us.
Of course, thank you.
Always great talking to Jake and Michael. You can follow their coverage of Maryland football for the Diamondback on X at Jake Carter and at Mike P. House and at dbknews.com. And Ben, a lot of interesting talking points in that, but I want to focus on the future of the season for Maryland football. You've got Wisconsin this weekend, former Maryland quarterback Billy Edwards. You lose that game, you're 3-1. You win that game, you're 4-0. So either way, you're sniffing bowl eligibility for the Terps.
Yeah, definitely. And then even later down the road in the season, you got UCLA, Rutgers. Those are 2 very winnable games, and I think Maryland does have a decent chance of making a bowl game this year.
I believe so, but it's to be determined. Well, still to come, we've got a lot more Terps to cover, including men's soccer's dramatic win on the road.
Plus, we'll toss it to TSC's Ryan Martin in Studio B to break down the arrival of new athletic director Jim Smith. Stay with us.
Dear moms and dads, we know it's not always been easy, and it's been a lot of hard work. What you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas. Everything I do it for you. Mom, love you always. No, it's true. Everything I do it for
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Welcome back to Left Bench, presented by TerraPoint Sports Central. I'm Andrew McBride. That's Ben Wolf. And Ben, along with a new season of Maryland sports comes a new face spearheading it all, new athletic director Jim Smith.
Yeah, the new AD has not just been involved with the sport teams, but with the fans as well.
You're right. So who is this new man leading Maryland athletics?
Our very own Ryan Martin is in Studio B.
Yeah, fellas, it's been 132 days since our last TLB episode, so there's a lot of Maryland sports news to catch up on. But like you guys said, there was nothing more newsworthy over the summer than Maryland's hiring of a former Northwestern Wildcat and an Ohio State Buckeye and athletic director Jim Smith. All right, Jim Smith's resume has more lines than just an education from two Big Ten foes, and his hiring does usher in a new era of Maryland athletics. When Smith was announced as AD in mid-May, he succeeded Damon Evans, who's now the athletic director at SMU down in Texas. He spent 7 years leading the Terps. But now this is Smith's department, who comes north to College Park after a World Series ring and 5 seasons as the Atlanta Braves' senior vice president of business strategy. It's an out-of-the-box hire, but there's real strategic experience there from his time in MLB. The Connecticut native also knows about catering to alumni from his time as president and CEO of Ohio State's Alumni Association. And before that, it was the NFL for Smith, where it was all about revenue generation. He spent over a decade as the Atlanta Falcons' VP and Chief Marketing Officer. So that's all about who Smith is. But the real question for Maryland fans is, what will Smith's impact on Maryland athletics be? Smith's been at nearly every home athletic event Maryland's had this fall, bringing in new initiatives to modernize the game day experience. He's overseen the creation of Terpsville's Fan Fest, a free pregame destination at Maryland Athletics football practice facility. There, fans of all ages can play games, take pictures, and buy food and drink before the Terps take the field. And once the games start, Smith's next goal is to keep fans in CQ Stadium. He's incentivized that by adding a new concession stand focused on family-friendly pricing. He's added a deal of the day and raffles for students who stick with him through the fourth quarter. And how about this for those fans who stick with him? Smith became a student this past weekend against Towson. He joined Maryland's student section, and on X, he made it say, quote-unquote, that the student section was lit. So Smith's working on his Gen Z lingo, some new ways to get fans excited on game day, and he just begins his time at the helm of Maryland athletics. But Ben, Andrew, in the new NIL world of the NCAA, there's still huge expectations for what Smith's legacy will be at Maryland. But his tenure seems off to a terrific start.
Yeah, Ryan, Jim Smith has definitely hit the ground running since arriving in College Park, and he's got a shiny new asset in his back pocket now.
Yeah, Ryan, speaking of that shiny new asset, he just oversaw the completion of the new Barry P. Gossett Basketball Performance Center. To his advantage, how does that help?
Yeah, guys, you're exactly right. Smith gets to put his name on that new shiny car in the sales lot with the Barry P. Gossett Performance Center. It's the new home of Maryland men's and women's basketball. We'll have a little more specifics on the Terps' new home when the basketball season gets closer. But for now, that Gossett Performance Center, it's a great first thing for Jim Smith to put his name on at the Xfinity Center complex.
Thanks for the great insight, Ryan. Number 10 Maryland field hockey came into Sunday's game versus number 13 St. Joseph's 0-2 against ranked teams. After 59 minutes of play, the Terps broke the 0-0 tie and secured the 1-0 ranked win. After a win on Friday versus Penn and former Maryland assistant coach Scott Tupper, the Terps defense was showing out again on Sunday, only allowing 3 shots all game. On the other side, St. Joe's keeper Paige Kieft, who was on the Terps last season, could not be stopped. But with 21 seconds left in regulation, Terps' Ella Gayton finds the back of the goal. Maryland escapes with a 1-0 win and a perfect weekend at the Terrapin Invitational. Here's head coach Missy Maharg on the win.
I mean, I applaud that team. That is a really good field hockey team. Their speed in the midfield was perhaps a little bit more than ours, and I thought we handled that really well.
Maryland men's soccer opened conference play up against Wisconsin on Friday, where the Terps continued their hot start to the season. In the 22nd minute, who else would be at the penalty mark but the nation's leader in penalty kicks last year, Leon Kuhl, who sneaks it into the back of the net for his first goal of the season. Terps go up 1-0. Fast forward now to the 68th minute, Wisconsin ties it up before Stefan GK nets his second goal of the season. Here he beats the defender with the fancy footwork and his screamer at the front post, but wait for it, to celebrate a nice little backflip as Maryland takes the 2-1 lead. 7 minutes later, here's a soccer name for you. Freshman Rocket Rita scores and secures his 8th point of the season. The Terps beat the Badgers 3-1.
Now let's head down to Winston-Salem, where volleyball's 5-game win streak came to an end in a 4-set loss to Wake Forest. The Terps take the first set 25-21, but the Demon Deacons had the momentum the rest of the way, taking the next 3 sets to defeat the Terps 3-1. Maryland falls to 5-3 on the season and will look to bounce back against Coppin State.
Now stay right here as we play our first game of the year after this break.
And we'll name our Terp of the Week, Pro Terp, and Top 5 plays. Stay with us.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
Welcome back to the Left Bench. I'm Andrew McBride, still here with Ben Wolf. And Ben, we're about to play a classic Left Bench game.
That's right, Andrew. We're going to be playing Who Said It. Our producers are going to put up random quotes, and like the name of the game, we're going to have to guess who said it.
I'm feeling confident about our abilities to win here, so let's test it out. Let's see the first quote. It's really an honor to be the warm-up for Kermit, so I am thrilled to be here today. Oh, it's gone, so we're still waiting around.
We're still waiting.
But the first half, it kind of gives me a sense. Oh, here, nope, this is not it. Oh, they kind of kept confidence in me after, nope, can't see it either.
Yeah. Well, for the first one, we're talking about Kermit.
We are.
Last year's commencement speech.
Yes, I was actually there. It was a great speech. Here we go. It's really an honor. Okay, it's gone again. They're kind of just toying us with here in the studio.
Yeah, I know.
They don't want us to see us win because they know.
Our producers are trying to beat us.
Okay, here we go. It's really an honor to be the warm-up for Kermit, so I am thrilled to be here today, and I'm obviously more than happy to take a back set to that legendary Terp. Probably back seat there. It's really an honor to be the warm-up for Kermit. So I feel like
this has to be from last year.
Right.
Spring.
I feel like Pines was definitely on stage there. You know, I was there in CQ Stadium for that graduation. From what I remember, President Pines was one person that spoke there. I can't really name any other person that went up there. You know, there was a student, but I think we have to just go with President
we can
Pines.
do that. You were there?
I was there. I want to go with my experience, you know. Hit me in the face if I'm wrong, but we're going to go with President Pines for our first quote.
Oh. We were just talking
about him.
Messed up the timelines.
I'm obviously more than happy to take a back seat to that legendary Terp.
Well, we were just talking about Jim Smith, I guess.
We were still jet lagged from coming back from Europe. That's probably why.
I guess that's our fault, but we'll go ahead and try to go 1-1 on this next quote. Let's see it.
They kind of kept confidence in me after the early struggles, and they told me they believed in me since we got here in January, and all of the hard work is going to show off. I think this is Malik Washington. I feel like I recall him saying this in one of the recent press conferences after the game. He's been saying how he's been really confident that he got here early on, and that's why this transition has essentially been seamless for him.
Yeah, before you even gave your insight on that, I said Malik Washington, but I'm trusting you, my man.
Yeah, that's it.
Malik Washington.
They kind of just kept confidence in me, you know, after like the early struggles, and they told me they believed in me that, you know, we're working really hard since we got here in January, and you know, all the hard work is going to show off.
I told you we were going to go 1-1. It's just because at the beginning they were messing with us. Our producers didn't want to see us win. We're 1-1. How do you feel right now, halfway through?
I'm feeling pretty good. I think we can come out on top in this one.
I think so. Let's go to graphic number 3. A very good performance when you have to shift schedules and adjust game day rhythms. That's not always easy. Whew, a lot to unpack there, not really. A very good performance when you have to shift schedules and adjust game day rhythms. I feel like it's something a coach would say, obviously.
I'm thinking Sasho because, I mean, the soccer had a game that got moved up because of weather, so maybe they were in their game day routine and it had to get moved up, so.
I like that.
That's what I'm thinking.
So I thought Coach Loxley, you know, I was kind of thinking sports that we've covered this show, but men's soccer was talked about 3-1. You saw the GK backflip, you know, maybe you could be talking about how blown away they were by that performance, so I like it.
You want to lock it in?
Let's go Sasho, men's soccer coach.
A very good performance on a day where you have to shift schedules and adjust game day rhythms. That's not always easy.
2-1.
All
That
right,
deserves a nice
2-1.
fist bump.
There we
I
go.
want to go 3-1. That would be great. There's no lead to be blown, so I'm not worried about that either. So let's see the last quote.
The defense has got to be better.
That's straight into the point, that's for sure.
You know, Lakai Rowland, after the game against Towson, he was saying that they played a great first half, but they still need to improve better, especially going into Big Ten play. That's kind of the only lead I got with this
I guess
one
as
right
a
now.
team they have to be better, but I mean, Rowland had a 100-yard pick six, so I guess
Yeah.
he's a humble guy.
Definitely.
I mean, again, you were there, the experience is there. You want to lock it in?
Yeah, let's go with Lakai Rowland.
Let's go with it.
The defense has got to be better. Secondary has got to. We've got to be better. We've got to be better secondary.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not on TikTok, so I would not have seen that. I don't know, Ben.
I do remember seeing this. I mean, it's got 30,000 views. One of our producers is going viral. Hopefully this does too.
Drew, just a very avid Saints fan. You know, we're both Giants fans, so we're not even in a better boat, so I don't feel sorry for her either. But, all right, I'll take 2 for 2, 50%. Maybe we'll do better next time.
Yeah, hopefully we'll bounce back.
We will. Well, it's time to round up our show by giving out our first awards of this year. And let's start with our Terp of the Week. Our first Terp of the Week is a name that many fans are getting used to hearing. It's quarterback Malik Washington. The Maryland native threw for 261 yards, hitting 16 of his 22 passes, add on a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and a win for the freshman, and you can pencil him in for this week's award. Big Ten play starts this weekend, and Terp fans are hopeful he can put up another stellar performance. Congrats to Malik Washington on being named our Terp of the Week.
Our Pro Terp of the Week is former men's lax national champion Logan McNaney. McNaney is the first ever rookie to be named the PLL Goalie of the Year. In 8 games with the Denver Outlaws, McNaney recorded 109 saves, translating to a 58.3 save percentage. McNaney left his mark in College Park and is now doing it again in Denver. Congrats to Logan McNaney on being named our Pro Terp of the Week.
That was a nice rhyme there. Left his mark in College Park. Well, Ben, it's time for our favorite segment of the show. Why don't we get into top 5 plays?
Do the honors, McBride.
Let's take it away. At number 5, why not Shalik Knotts? Look at this throw by Malik Washington to the sideline. Shalik Knotts with a sideline grab, gets both feet in bounds. Let's see it one more time. Great pitch and catch there.
And for number 4, we're going to do a little double knot here with Shalik Knott's 32-yard touchdown. Burns the defender, wide open, one of Malik's best throws of the season so far.
At number 3, you saw this earlier in the show, but it was so sweet we had to show it twice. It's Ella Gayton's game-winning goal with 30 seconds left against St. Joe's. The gate was left wide open, and Ella put it in. What a remarkable goal for the 1-0 win.
Here at number 2, we got Lakai Rowland with a 100-yard pick 6. The defensive line putting the pressure, comes up with the pick. There is nothing but green in front of him. As a great boomer would say, he may go all the way. What a great play.
That was awesome, Ben. You know, they got to put you on ESPN right now. And at number 1, I mean, I'm obsessed with this play. I think it's our best number 1 play of all time. It's the Stephon GK goal. First, look at how he beats the defender with the fancy footwork, puts the screamer in at the front post. Now take your breath, take a second, and watch this backflip. That is just pure athletic ability shown on display there. Stephon GK, the goal, but better yet, the cherry on top, the celebration, Ben.
I don't know what's more impressive, the goal or the backflip. I mean, that was pretty sweet.
You think you could do something like that?
Definitely not. I'd probably break my neck. That about does it for our first show this semester. Be sure to keep tabs on all of our coverage on YouTube, Instagram, X, and at TerrapinSportsCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us. Eddie Calkins and Drew Owens will be behind the desk next week.
Same time, same channel. See you next week.